Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the video of the Roshank Redemption, and today I'm bringing you guys my weekly live reaction to Tokyo Ghoul Ray Chapter 61, which is entitled The ENT. And I have no idea what the title's referring to. In general, the titles in Tokyo Ghoul are very vague, but what I do see is a picture of Kaneki and Furuta as the cover, which I'm very excited for, so let's go ahead and get straight into this, guys. Also, as always, I'm reading on Manga Stream for those of you who want to follow along with me here. So how's it going? The progress, I mean. Looks like Kaneki and Furuta are out and talking. Beats me, I'd be very surprised if Miss Takatsuki ever did anything besides read books. Sheesh. But seriously, investigating a private residence without first obtaining permission. Does that mean that Kaneki investigated Takatsuki's home without letting the rest of the CCG know? Or does it mean that they didn't get Takatsuki's permission first? Obviously, they don't have Takatsuki's permission, but if the rest of the CCG doesn't know that Kaneki is investigating Takatsuki, then he's definitely hiding something. It's already pretty clear that he's hiding something, but this is like confirmation here. Nonetheless, the means be what they may, the ends will be the same. If something happens, I'm prepared to face the consequences. Demoted, whatever, I don't care. Okay, so he is hiding it from the CCG. Interesting, very interesting. Okay, so what I'm getting from this first page is that for one, Kaneki is hiding his investigation of Takatsuki from the CCG, and for two, Kaneki is probably hiding the fact that he suspects Takatsuki is the One-Eyed Owl and the One-Eyed King from the CCG, which explains why Eto was rated S in the last chapter. At least the CCG predicted her rating of S, because they don't actually know that Kaneki is investigating her. This is all very strange. We already knew that Kaneki was hiding something, and if anything, this completely confirms it. By the way, the squad you used to lead, boss, the Qs, it seems they've been doing quite well for themselves. Urei as mentor is attending to his underlings' education and managing to collect his own share of impressive achievements. Yonebashi as vice captain supports Urei, and in battle provides an excellent example to the new Qs. Toma Higemaru, first Academy Junior scholarship student, even before he entered the Academy, is determined that he displayed a high suitability for the Q squad, and so he underwent surgery. Okay, so this guy is a dude. His gender was somewhat ambiguous in the previous chapters, but now we know that he's a dude. Which apparently Manga Stream mistranslated something in one of the previous chapters, because this guy said, oh, Captain Urei is so hot. So, or maybe he did actually mean just that. I don't know. Nonetheless, this guy's a dude is the point. Just like the young Hope Wee, his household is wealthy and rather high-ranking. Eats space dust, Hige. Oh, that's Yonebashi and him playing video games. As someone raised in that sort of environment, it seems he has a strong sense of justice. That is very interesting. Okay. Oh my gosh. That's totally fan service right there. You gotta be kidding me. Jinli Shao, as a child, came from Japan, from Taiwan. She's literally doing the splits right in front of us, unless I'm like misseeing this. Oh my gosh. She was in the gifted students class at White Sun Garden. Blessed with talent on the level of her fellow Garden alumni, Ihei. Huh. Interesting. Okay. So I guess her and Ihei went to the same school. This is pretty crazy actually, because it would seem that the new members of the Q squad are actually pretty prominent people and could be pretty important characters. Her specialty appears to be bare-handed combat. None were able to match her. Interesting. Shin Sanpei Ora, 7th Academy Junior alumnus. He's special class Kyoko Ora's nephew. Okay, so this person is related to Kyoko Ora. There were a couple of theories out there that this was the case, and now it's interesting to see if that's confirmed. Apparently his mother is special class Ora's little sister. Unlike his aunt, who entered the borough at the top of her class, he, despite having the experience and potential, achieved nothing particular of note during his time at the academy. At the moment, I guess most are just looking forward to seeing him grow and mature. Rank 1 Mutsuki has been focusing on support-related activities and moves from squad to squad. At the moment, he's attending the investigation of Rue Island along with the Hachikawa squad. Oh, looks like we're gonna get some Mutsuki action here. I guess those are two members from Algeria would appear? Oh, crap. Mutsuki has gotten so much stronger in this series. I guess Mutsuki just wrecked a couple of Algeria executives. Dude, that's an interesting sound effect. Shit. This isn't the time to be playing around. Kagane, use your Kagane. I'm trying to save my stamina, sheesh. Page 7 here, it looks like there's something out in the water. Is that Scarecrow? Why is a C-rate stray ghoul? Is he a part of Algeria now? Quit dawdling. The stench is really getting thick. Keep it together. Got it. Washu Estate. I hear Algeria is on its last legs. Kisho Arama's squad, there. No, don't troll us like this. What was that person gonna say? Meet my wife, Io. Hi there, I'm EO Watch. Okay, this is very interesting, because I think I mentioned this in a previous video, but I think that potentially something is going to happen to Matsuri's family at some point as sort of a recompense for the amount of lives that he sacrificed in the CCG. Either that, or at some point he's going to have to sort of choose, I guess, between his wife and between, you know, getting promotions and rising up in the CCG. I explained that theory more in depth in a different video, so I'm not going to talk about it too much right now, but Ishida was foreshadowing something in a previous chapter regarding Matsuri's family. You're so young. My husband's got nothing but praise for you. Your work is all but lost on me, but nevertheless, I wish you the best. A boring woman. What a wonderful wife. Huh? Wow. What an ass, dude. Oh my gosh. Fuck Matsuri. I can't believe he just said that about his wife, man. Io is a daughter of an old and venerable family. I was engaged to her before I left Germany, with the understanding that I would marry her once I returned. Originally, I had vowed to not return until Yoshitoki died. You know, though I rely on the status and power given to me by the Washu name, I really do envy you all. You were able to live your lives to the fullest. As someone who wields a great deal of power, I recognize that restraints and restrictions are necessary, but they are dull. A wife that knows nothing of what I do is dull. What about you? When will you marry? Ori's reaction, what the hell? Okay, this is really weird. Misa. Oh, we're back with Aogiri. Okay. Misa, have you seen Seiki? No, I haven't. The assembly's soon, isn't it? Have you heard what it's going to be about? No, I've just been told to get everyone to gather, and that Eto will be saying something, that's all. By the way, Naki's already left for the meeting hall. And I care because... No reason. It's rare for you to be on lookout duty, Misa. I thought you might be looking out for him. That's Eto over there, I think. Owl. 13 years ago. Kuroiwa, get revenge for special class Ure. You are Kuroiwa, 29. Okay, so yeah, this is 13 years ago, of course, so Kuroiwa was younger. And I guess they're fighting the owl. It looks like they're fighting Kuzan? Or are they fighting Eto? I feel like that's pretty obvious. I'm just missing something pretty clear. I think they're fighting Eto, actually. Okay, I think this is Eto. And if so, this is so hype right now. Because I am so excited to learn more about Eto's past. Looks like Eto just got slashed. Kuroiwa got slashed too. It's going to fall. Finish it. Damn it. 14 years old, huh? And that looks like Eto who's falling. Both Tree and Takatsuki. I've been with them for 13 years now. I really am getting old. I suspect that even you all have begun to notice that Aogiri Tree has thinned as of late. Soon, gentlemen, I predict that we will face a great change. Oh my gosh, what is going on? Holy shit. With that on the horizon, today I wish to tell you all a few things. Oh my gosh. Holy fuck. Is she gonna reveal her identity? Holy shit. I am the ghoul known as Owl. She's revealing it. Holy shit. I also write books under the name Takatsuki. Oh my gosh. She's telling everyone. She's revealing her identity. I guess it was only a matter of time, but holy shit. 13 years ago, as the One-Eyed Owl, I led a small band of ghouls in raids against the CCG. In the end, though, we were the ones killed. I was overconfident in my strength, and I was taught a lesson. I decided to assemble a following. A seminar? Oh, fuck. Mutsuki's there. I am the one who formed Aogiri Tree. Today, we have several thousand ghouls in the organization. But our goal is as distant as ever. As you all are no doubt aware, Aogiri Tree exists to create a good world for us ghouls. A world in which ghouls can live openly and freely. Our enemy are the does of the CCG. However, eradicating the warped root that lurks behind them, behind all this is my true aim. Holy shit. Holy shit. Is she gonna talk about V? Oh my gosh. I'm getting vibes of V right now, guys. Oh my gosh. This is literally just like overwhelming me right now. We have waited so long to learn out more about Eto's character, and now finally we're getting something. Dr. Kano has referred to this world as a twisted birdcage. I find this description exceedingly applicable. I myself have adopted it. Okay, this is very interesting because I'm pretty sure when Kaiko from V was talking to Kuzan, he told Kuzan that he's a bird trapped in a birdcage. And now Eto is talking about the birdcage. More similarities to V here, guys. In the destruction of this twisted birdcage is the key to returning balance to the scales of this world. I would like you all to become the foundation of that destruction. The parent organization that eventually became the CCG was founded over 100 years ago in response to the appearance of an extremely powerful one-eyed ghoul. Powerful enough that humanity had to join hands to defeat it. Okay, the parent organization that eventually became the CCG was founded over 100 years ago. I thought the CCG was founded way earlier than that. Over 100, I guess, so maybe like 150 or so. That's kind of strange. Okay, so I think there are theories out there that V became the CCG, so maybe she's referring to that. I have no idea. My heart is beating too fast right now, and I'm too, like, into this chapter and into the hype to even think about that. In the past, the appearance of a one-eyed ghoul was a portent of great change. I am sure there are some among you who believe the one-eyed owl to be our king. Gentlemen, the one-eyed king is... Fuck, is she not the one-eyed king? Oh my gosh! I can't believe this, dude! I can't believe it. I just can't believe it. I cannot believe it. Not me. It's not her. Oh my gosh. I can't believe it. That's mind-blowing. That just blew my mind. That blew my fucking mind, man. So who's the one-eyed king? Okay. I have some theories about this. I should wait to share them, though. I want to read the entire chapter, then I'll share them. Oh my goodness. Furuta. V is calling. What? Whoa. V now? V is calling about Ken Kaneki. Why, if it isn't Mr. Kisho? Why? Whoa. Why is Aruma talking to Furuta about V? What in the hell is going on, man? What? Okay. The last 2 pages. First, Eto is not the one-eyed king. First, already mind blown. Sorry, I'm spitting all over my mic and it probably is hurting your ears. Nonetheless. Second, Aruma comes up to Furuta and says V is calling about Kaneki Ken. Why would he ask that to Furuta? Is there something secret about Aruma that we're unaware of? There are tons of theories out there that Aruma's part of V, that Aruma's evil, that Aruma's a ghoul. I don't know if any of those are true, but this is weird. This is just straight up weird. That's all I have to say about this chapter. That is all I have to say. Holy fuck, guys. Holy shit. Alright, well, I'm going to go ahead and gather my thoughts and do a quick recap. There's way too much to break down in this chapter for me to do an analysis right after the live reaction. So I guess I'm doing separate video this way. I guess what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you guys a quick recap, quick 1-minute recap. And then I'm going to go ahead and do a separate video where I analyze everything in this chapter. But I guess the most important thing to take away from this chapter, Eto is not the one-eyed king. That was basically Ishida telling us. Eto is not the one-eyed king. Okay guys, I am back and I'm going to go ahead and do a quick summary of the points that I thought were important in this chapter. So to start things off, for the first few pages, we have Kaneki and Furuta talking, and the most important thing to take away from this conversation is that the CCG is not fully aware of Kaneki's investigation into Takatsuki, or Eto, whatever you want to call her, which means that Kaneki isn't telling the CCG everything, and this could prove to be very bad for the CCG, because Kaneki is not on their side. He's not necessarily on their side, which is bad news for the CCG. When the CCG does indeed invade Rue Island, the fact that Kaneki isn't on their side, I think, will come back to bite them, and it could really hurt them in the long run. Kaneki is an incredibly powerful ghoul, and if he sides with Aogiri or something like that, it could mean heavy losses for the CCG, despite the fact they have Aruma, and despite how many powerful investigators they have. The next thing we need to talk about is the Q Squad, because we got some pretty important new information on them in this chapter. The first thing is that, of course, Urei and Yonebashi are doing very well, which isn't really a surprise. You can kind of already tell that from the previous chapters. What is a surprise, though, is some information we got on the other members. First off, we have Toma Hijamaru, who apparently comes from a very wealthy family and also has a very strong sense of justice. And the way Ishida is setting up this character, I really feel like he is going to play a fairly important role in the future chapters. Then we have Ginny Shao, who comes from the same class of students as Haru Ihe, and once again, the fact that she has a relation to Haru and the fact that Ishida is even giving her a background in the first place means she's also going to play a fairly significant role in the future chapters. And then finally, and probably most importantly, we have Shin-sanpei Ora, who's the nephew of Kyoko Ora. And the fact that Kyoko Ora is a special class investigator, and the fact that this person is related to Kyoko Ora, means once again, I really do feel like this person is going to play a fairly important role in the future chapters. And then, of course, we have Mutsuki, who's currently on Rue Island infiltrating Aogiri's base of operations, which I feel like Aogiri's base is confirmed to be Rue Island at this point, because Mutsuki did overhear Eto giving a speech. But nonetheless, I am terrified for Mutsuki. I already put out that theory about Mutsuki potentially being tortured or even raped. And this chapter, the fact that she's so close to a massive gathering of Aogiri is very, very worrisome. Or I guess I shouldn't call her a she, because technically Mutsuki does identify as a male. Nonetheless, the point is that if Mutsuki gets found out, he is absolutely fucked, because there's no way Aogiri Tree is going to let Mutsuki escape with all of that important information, and it will probably mean Mutsuki will get tortured and potentially even killed off if he's captured. After this, we have a short conversation between Ure and Matsuri, mostly about Matsuri's family and Matsuri's past, and I'm going to sort of skim over this because there is some important stuff in here, but compared to the rest of the chapter, it's not nearly as essential. And now let's go ahead and finally move on to the meat of this chapter, and that is of course Eto's speech to the rest of Aogiri Tree. And guys, I am so hyped from what we learned from this speech. The first thing I want to point out is that Mutsuki was actually listening to this entire speech on the side, which means that if Mutsuki does indeed escape, then the CCG pretty much knows everything about Eto, the fact that she's the one-eyed owl, and the fact that she's Takatsuki-sen. During the speech, Eto doesn't come out and directly say it, but I think she's referencing V during the speech. And the reason why I say this is because she uses the word birdcage, and that is a word used by Kaiko in the past. And she also talks about an organization that eventually became the CCG. What I'm thinking is maybe an organization sort of split into V and the CCG as we know them today, or maybe something along those lines. That is just a theory though, so I could be completely wrong on that. Alright, and then finally, at the very end of the chapter, Eto says, and I quote, "The one-eyed king is not me." And then right after that, we see a panel of Kaneki. Okay, so let me tell you guys why this is incredibly strange. The reason why this is incredibly strange is because Eto comes out and says, "I formed Aogiri Tree." So how could she be the person who formed Aogiri Tree, but not be the one-eyed king of Aogiri Tree? The truth is, I have absolutely no idea how to answer this question, because logically, the person who formed Aogiri Tree, if they're still alive, should be the one-eyed king of Aogiri Tree. So there's really only one explanation that makes sense to me, and bear with me here, guys, because this is going to sound a little bit far-fetched. So if you guys remember a couple of chapters ago to, I think, chapter 57, we had a chapter entitled The Second King, and that entire chapter was about Kaneki versus Eto, and it ended with Kaneki cutting Eto in half. Now, why in the world was that chapter entitled The Second King if it only depicted Kaneki versus Eto? The only explanation that makes sense to me is that Kaneki somehow became the Second King, at least in Eto's eyes, after their fight. Because how else do you explain the title of that chapter? Who else could be the Second King? It can't be Eto, obviously, because she said she's not the king right now, which means she might have been the first king, but she's definitely not the king right now. So for her to be the Second King makes no sense. So the only person it could possibly be, because that entire chapter was just Kaneki versus Eto, the only person it could really be, in my opinion at least, is Kaneki. Here's what I think the reality of the situation is, guys. So in her speech, Eto mentioned the word birdcage, as well as the word destruction, as in destruction of the current order in order to make a better word for ghouls. She mentions those words multiple times. She also says that in the past, there was an incredibly powerful one-eyed ghoul who was a great portent of change. Or excuse me, portent of great change. Sorry, I mixed up my words there. What I think is that the one-eyed ghoul from the past that Eto is talking about was the previous one-eyed king, and Eto thinks that Kaneki is the new one-eyed king because she thinks that Kaneki is going to bring about great change. What I think is that Eto's motive for forming Aogiri Tree is in part the destruction of V, because V is doing something behind the scenes to sort of manipulate the world as it is and to maintain the current order. What Eto thinks is that Kaneki is going to be the one to take down V, just as the one-eyed ghoul from the past brought about great change. And that is sort of my theory on that in a nutshell. I realize I didn't do the best job of explaining it because I sort of am on the spot here right after reading the chapter, and I'm still pretty shocked, not gonna lie, so I'll go ahead and talk about this more in a review and analysis later this week, and feel free to share your thoughts on this down below in the comments and give me some feedback on what you think of what I just said. And then finally, one last thing to end off the chapter, we have Arima coming up to Furuta and saying, "V is calling about Ken Kaneki," and I don't know what the specific significance of this is, but what we do know is that V is now involved in this battle, and things are about to get crazy, guys. Well, alright folks, that is pretty much gonna do it for this video. As always, if you enjoyed, be sure to drop me a like down below, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already for more Tokyo Ghoul Raid content in the future. Also, be sure to let me know your thoughts on the chapter down below. Me personally, amazing freaking chapter. 9.5 out of 10. We got so many reveals in this chapter, and I'm not really sure where all this is going, but I know that something big is about to happen in Tokyo Ghoul Ray. Otherwise, I hope you all have an awesome rest of your day, and I will see you in my next video.